This is a short video to show you how to take probably the most popular soft swim bait in the world and change it from a jig hook style bait into a through-line bait. And the idea in doing that is to allow the bait to release from the fish when the fish is hooked. To do that, you'll need a few tools. You'll need the red tube that comes with WD-40 can. If you can't acquire that, go to your local hobby town and acquire an antenna protector. It costs about $3. And they use them to cover their RC cars' antennas. You'll need a good pair of dikes. You'll need a thin piece of music wire, stainless steel, and a couple other various vice grips, needle nose. But the whole modification should only take about 5 minutes. Probably the most important part of the modification is mend it or huddle bond, whichever you prefer. But that is what is going to secure the tube to the inside of the bait. And that is what is going to take the load when you're casting and retrieving the lure. Because we're going to be cutting the line tie off of the bait, so there will no longer be that. So diving right in, the first thing we need to do is cut this jig hook off, and we're going to try to get it down quite as low as possible so that it no longer affects any of our line. As if a big bass was fighting on the line, it wouldn't catch. And then we're going to get right back down in here. We're only going to make one cut because the line tie is only just bent over, but we're going to get down deep. And this can all be, if you do make a little bit of mistake, that's what mend it or huddle bond is so perfect for, because it bends everything right back together. And even if you're not making any modifications to your baits, purchase of $4 or $5 will save you years in use on your soft swim baits. So, and you can see I even cut off the bottom hook hanger, which is where you could just attach a hook, a split ring, and then a treble hook. So that right there is the beginning. The next thing I like to do is use the ST36 Stinger treble hooks from Owner. And in the same fashion that Butch Brown uses, this rig is going to look a lot like Butch Brown's rig, with the exception of being completely lined through. In Butch's rig, the treble hook is hooked directly from the hook to the line tie, and on mine it's going to be hooked through line directly to your pole. So as you lay the treble hook down, you figure where you want it to line up on your bait. And that looks about right to me. And I'm going to make a small mark right on the parting line of where I want my hook to come back out. Next, I'm going to take the music wire, because it's a strong stainless steel wire that's semi-bendable. And as you can see on these prior baits, I like to go in right through the mouth, just above the mouth. But always right on the parting line of the bait, and that will always keep your bait running true. And inside this section of the bait is a weight and the internal chamber of the Huddleston. And using your fingers, you can just feel the difference. And I can feel right there is where I want my tube to come out. So now I cut the red WD-40 tube. And this is an important part. I'm getting ready to put it back through, But what's going to make this bait strong and what's going to make it hold up over thousands and thousands of casts is the fact that I'm going to cover this bait, this tube, and mend it, and it's going to, and as I pull it in, it's going to mend to the inside of the Huddleston body. And as I cast over and over and over, as opposed to having no spots that are absorbing that tension of the cast, this mendit will be distributing it all along the inside of the body. And anyone who's fished a Huddleston knows that these bodies are made out of some pretty rigid plastic that can take a beating. So I'm going to be applying a very, very liberal coat because we can just clean it off afterwards with no harm. And then I'm just going to use that music wire as a guide. Just going to pull it right back down. And then right back out the hole that I had. It's a little bit longer because I want to have some material to work with. In the interest of time, I'd probably set this up about 10 or 15 minutes to let that mendit bond to the inside, but in the interest of this video, I'm just going to keep on moving. The next thing I would do is take a straightened paper clip and I would clean out both ends of the tube to make sure that no mendit got in there and clogged it up. Then for the first variation of this, I'm going to cut off, just like in the Butch Brown method, I'm going to cut off one of the trebles. And then I'm going to take and bend it over slightly. And that's going to become the hook that's going to hold for this example, I'm using 15-pound big game, but some triple fish certainly wouldn't hurt, especially if you're fishing for some high-pressure fish in your Southern California lakes. Quick polymer knot. Get it down nice and tight so that there's nothing showing, that you keep as much artificial presence hidden. And then what I like to do is pull the dorsal fin back just slightly and then just seek the hook. And then that'll pull down just tight, just like that. And what that allows you to do is, as you're fishing this bait, and the majority of your bait, of your strikes from large fish, trophy fish, fish that are 10 plus pounds, are going to come from the bottom, and they're going to come at the head. That might seem like something that's weird to have the hook rigged up here, but what this does, this allows you to fish a lot more weedless And a 10-pound fish and an 8-inch bait, they're going to get this hook. So as they collapse over this hook, they become hooked. You begin to fight them. This bait slides away, leaving just the hook embedded in the fish, and it leaves you a much higher percent of landing the fish. As you can see on these that I've already rigged, there's an additional modification that I love to do to my baits, and I think it adds and attracts a lot more strikes, and that's the addition of gill plates. And these are simply done, and there is an excellent video tutorial at Tactical Bassin, which is owned by Matt Allen. If you'd like to do that, you can just log on to his website, look for that video tutorial. This takes another 5 to 10 minutes. It's also done with Mendit, and he'll show you how to go through that, and then you'll have this exact bait using my tutorial and his, and be ready to catch some very large California largemouth this spring. Thank you.